Bharat Mata Ki Jai, victory to Mother India. It is a chant heard across the subcontinent, from political rallies to quiet village squares. But when millions of people repeat these words, the specific identity they are invoking remains an open question. It is easy to look at the physical geography, the dirt, the forests, or the jagged peaks of the Himalayas, and assume the land itself is the answer. But geography alone is a static thing. For 5,000 years, the Indian subcontinent has been a collision point for migrating tribes, for invading armies, and collapsing empires. Most ancient cultures in similar circumstances eventually fragmented or disappeared. This civilizational continuity was maintained through a more resilient infrastructure than the shifting borders of kings. The subcontinent's long-term survival is rooted in its hydrological network. Tracing the map reveals 4 distinct flows: the Sindhu, the Brahmaputra, the Yamuna, and the Ganga, which function as the primary operating system for the entire region. To understand how such a diverse landmass remains a single entity, we have to look at how these 4 distinct river archetypes unified a fragmented map. We begin on the ancient western frontier with the Sindhu, the Indus River. This waterway defines the region so completely that it provided the root for the name Hindustan. For thousands of years, land-based entry into the subcontinent required crossing the Sindhu. It was the physical threshold for conquering armies and merchant caravans. This constant traffic turned the river into a zone of continuous contact, linking the people of the plains with the cultures of Greece, Persia, and Central Asia. In the extreme northeast, the geography dictates a different history. The Brahmaputra exists in a state of relative isolation compared to the connected western frontier. Unlike the navigable western plains, the Brahmaputra is a violent, roaring current that cuts through deep, inaccessible mountain cracks. Because it was separated from the political centers of the plains, the cultures along the Brahmaputra remained defined by the local environment, creating a legacy of nature-based folklore and mountain myths. The Sindhu functioned as a porous door to the world, while the Brahmaputra represented the raw, unmanaged power of the native landscape. Moving toward the interior, the scale becomes more personal. In the heartland, the Yamuna focuses the culture on localized, intimate life. The Yamuna is the primary setting for narratives of divine play, specifically the Ras Nritya, the legendary dance of Krishna. This river represents a layer of artistic and devotional life that has historically operated independently of the grand political shifts occurring in imperial capitals. These cultural threads eventually converge at the Ganga. As the subcontinent's central artery, it has long served as the primary center of gravity. The vast population supported by this river made its banks a platform for major philosophical developments. At Sarnath, the Buddha first formulated his teachings on the nature of human sorrow and desire. Rulers like Ashoka used the Ganga's political weight to broadcast edicts of social tolerance, carving their laws into stone pillars that remained for centuries. This was the same intellectual stage where, much later, rulers like Akbar gathered scholars in red sandstone pavilions to debate theology and bridge different faiths. The Ganga provided the landscape where foreign entry, raw myth, and village devotion blended into a shared cultural identity. This hydrological system provided the framework for the entire civilization: arrival along the Sindhu, raw nature on the Brahmaputra, devotion on the Yamuna, and synthesis on the Ganga. By maintaining this 4-part structure, the civilization gained the ability to absorb 5,000 years of change without losing its internal logic. Returning to the question of who Bharat Mata is, we see that the rivers and the land only gain their meaning through the people who inhabit them. The identity of the nation is found in the millions of individuals, like this farmer, who have lived and labored along these riverbanks for 50 centuries. The rivers serve as the lifeblood, but the people living on their banks are the ones who turn a geographic feature into a sacred and historical landmark. The history of India is a continuous process of addition, much like a river delta constantly emptying into the sea. Bharat is the flow itself, a narrative that remains continuous as long as its people carry it forward.